How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Toon review. Today is your match review from the Aston Villa. Well, I'd call it a beating. 3-0 yesterday lunchtime. It wasn't the best match, but we're here to break the bones of the game here on the Toon review. But before we do get into live, everyone, if you guys do go on to enjoy this live stream, and if you are new and you do like what you see, please make sure you hit the subscribe button as we are on the road now to 19,000 as well as 20,000 as well. So we try and get there as quick as possible. Massive influx of subscribers recently. And also, if you want to donate to the channel as well, please make sure you hit that $ in the live chat below. All your donations will be popped up. And it's also a guaranteed comment read out. But welcome everyone into the chat. It's not going to be the best show, is it, Billy? Because it's not the best performance of the season, is it? But what are your takes on the game yesterday?
We didn't start at all for 90 minutes. It was just a complete and utter domination from a team that had the bit between their teeth, that were up for the game, that wanted it more than us, that had more intensity more than us. And it was one of those days at the office, wasn't it? I'm sure we'll come back from it. It's how we react to it. It's the important thing. But just a bad day at the office, and we can sweep that one under the carpet, I think.
It was just a bad day at the office. I mean, a lot of the comments saying about Eddie Howe out, look, get a grip of your life if you want Eddie Howe out. That is a blip in the road. We just came back off 5 wins in 5 games. We've had really 3 difficult away games. That is not easy, especially in the Premier League. There's no easy games in the Premier League whatsoever. That is just a blip in the road. We'll get back to St James's Park on Saturday against Spurs. The fans will lift the players, and we'll be back as soon as you know it. Evening to Julie. Evening TTR family. Hope everyone's good after the so-called game on Saturday. It was embarrassing. I was expecting a hard game, but the team did not turn up. No pressing or closing down. Would you class the game as embarrassed, Billy, yesterday? Would you class it as embarrassed?
Look, sometimes you've got to put your hands up and say you were beaten by a better team on the day, and yesterday was one of those days. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm disappointed and pissed off by it, but I wouldn't say I was embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to be a Newcastle United supporter.
No, you'd be embarrassed to be a Man United supporter, that's for sure. Evening to Ian, 12th man Toon, Julie. Hi, Jax is Ian. Hello, Ian. I'm just going to say that we shouldn't have to rely on other teams to bail us out. We are Newcastle, and we shouldn't be 4th. I'm pretty sure he's saying that we should be 3rd instead, which I totally agree by. Hi, everyone's still shocked how bad we played. We go from here, says John. So we're going to go over the lineup right now. This is the lineup that Eddie Howe went with yesterday. So Gordon gets the start. He went with Nick Pope, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sten Botman, Dan Burn, Bruno, Willock, Joelinton, Murphy, Gordon. And were you surprised to see Murphy start yesterday, Billy? Were you surprised?
I was surprised with the way he lined up Gordon and Murphy out. I expected Gordon to play on the right, where he's been most dangerous for us. Every time he's played on the left, he's been pretty anonymous, to be honest. He cuts inside all of the time. At least when Maxi plays there, he has the option of going on the outside. And Murphy, we had him out of the side because, just to bring Gordon in for that reason. I didn't understand the lineup now. I didn't think it had any balance to it. Longstaff missing, lost us a lot of energy in the middle of the park. Yeah, so it was kind of something. Oh, my what? My shite. Thank you very much. It's you are shite, not your shite, you fucking thicko. Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed with the lineup. But to be honest, we should have had enough on the pitch to at least compete, and we didn't, did we?
No. If I'm being honest, when the players were lining up before they went out, I don't want to be this person for a Newcastle fan to go, I don't believe in the lads. For me, when I saw the 2 teams line up in the tunnel, we were beat. Spurs, no, not Spurs. We're playing them this weekend. Aston Villa just looked up for it. They looked fired up for it. They were so fired up for it, and it showed on the pitch. I mean, the first chance in the first 20 seconds, what the hell happened there? The defense just opened up. It just opened up, like slicing a bun. It just opened up, and Ollie Watkins with an early chance, and that pretty much set the tone from there. And it was only a matter of time before they scored, Billy, wasn't it?
Yeah, the back 4 haven't been great for the past few weeks, really. What games here and there, where one or two of them have played poorly, or one of them has played okay, one has played poorly. Yesterday, all 4 of them played really badly, and all the chickens came home to roost in one day. We were out-strengthened a lot of it as well. It wasn't just pace or trick of it. It was out-strengthened and urgency to get to the ball and desire. not something we've become accustomed to with Eddie Howe's teams. But yesterday, completely different kettle of fish. And there's that saying again.
Yeah, there are a lot of shots. I'm actually going to go through a few stats as well, just to get you guys aware of what actually happened yesterday in terms of shots and possession. Let me get them up right now. So Aston Villa had a total of 16 shots, 6 on target. Newcastle had 8 shots, 2 on target. Villa had 52% possession and we had 48% possession. And then they had 7 corners as well, and we had 2 corners. They just dominated us from start to finish, and we didn't. I mean, look, going forward, we didn't really have anything real. I mean, Isak had a few shots. I mean, Isak, he was trying to make things happen, but Villa were just so dominant at the back as well. I think the reason for Eddie Howe starting Gordon yesterday on the left, I think I would much rather wanted Gordon on the right. I think it was just to get his pace on Ashley Young. It wasn't. Do you think that, Billy? Do you think it was his pace against Ashley Young?
It can only be that. It can only be that because the past few weeks when he has been performing well, it's been on the right. With Maxi out, we wanted to go with pace at Ashley Young. Didn't make sense, though. It didn't balance the whole side just to get that one player in. So, yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah, it was. A very good evening, Billy and Jack. We will be back to winning ways next Sunday. All well and cool. I think Spurs will be a redemption. I won't call it a redemption game because we don't need to. I don't think we need a redemption because we've been playing so well recently. And I feel like it'll be good to come back home. I definitely think we've missed being at home as well. We need that lift from the crowd. And once we do that, we'll be back on our way, back to winning ways. Bad day, nothing more. Every team has one now and again up the Toon. Yeah, it was just a bad day at the office. A few people saying, "Oh, back to Steve Bruce days." No, it's not because we're not back to Steve Bruce days because we're fourth in the league, for crying out loud. We're not back to Steve Bruce days. It's just a bad day at the office. We go again next weekend. We take it on the chin. We stay humble. Villa were better than us on the day. They scored the goals. I mean, it's not like we didn't have chances. We had chances. I mean, that when Miggy came on and he decided to just volley it and on the side netting, he had Wilson at the back post. It was a little tiny bit selfish on Miggy's part. Villa will not play any better, and we have never played worse this season. We'll get back to winning ways against Spurs. 100%, Keith, 100%. I could understand if we played good and lost, but the way we played was effing shocking, says Mark. It was, wasn't it, Billy? I wasn't. Honestly, I was not expecting that performance yesterday. I feel like some of the passing was sloppy. I feel like the defense just didn't defend right. I feel like we were shocking, weren't we, Billy?
I think the passion we showed on Thursday night, and we show week day in day out, wasn't replicated by the players, and the manager's got a lot to say about it as well. His selection of the team didn't give us balance. He sees them every day in training. He knows more than obviously we do, but it just seemed an obvious mistake to leave us. It was okay gambling with it against Brentford second half. We were behind. We needed to gamble. Brentford didn't really take advantage of us. We pressed them and wanted it more than them. Start with that similar kind of, Joe Linton and Bruno and not having the energy of Longstaff in the middle of the park, it sets us up, and they were really up for it yesterday. And they took advantage of it, really. It was tactical masterclass from Emery. We didn't expect them to play like that either. We thought they were a low block team, 6 at the back when they, not in possession. Nothing like that. Nothing like that at all. They were really, really good and took advantage of a really poor performance from us yesterday.
Speaking about Longstaff, Toon Game says here, proved yesterday how much we missed Longstaff. I think we missed his engine. I think we missed his tackling. I think we missed his dirtiness because he definitely when he got subbed on, he definitely got stuck in. And that is definitely what we missed. And I feel like, I hate to say it, but Joelinton's passing yesterday was awful. I mean, I'm not putting on Joelinton at all because a lot of the players were shocking yesterday, including Trippier, including Dan Burn. But Joelinton's passing, I mean, I saw this one pass. It was just sloppy, and it just gave the possession away. I still fancy us for top 4, but are Brighton our biggest problem? They're definitely going to be a tough test at St James's. They're definitely a tough test. I mean, Brighton are really in consideration for top 4, that's for sure. The engine in midfield that we call up one of our own was missing. Totally correct, as Wes. I definitely missed Longstaff as Lee. Yeah, I think we definitely missed Longstaff. Pope and Isak for the rest too, but we will roast the Spuds. We'll get that on that later in the show. The results went a bit our way. A win against Spurs, and it's all forgiven, says Jan. Bournemouth beating Spurs yesterday. Oh, 100% Keith. That has really helped Newcastle today. 100% helped Newcastle. to be fair, we've had so many away games in a row and done superb, just ran out of energy in the end. Do you think we ran out of energy? Because, I mean, we've had a week's training, haven't we, Billy? We had a week's training. I don't think there was any excuse for being tired or any fatigue.
No, I don't either. And when you've taken the biggest dynamo of energy you've got in your squad out of the team, you know, you're gonna look a bit slower than the opponents, I guess. But yeah, it was disappointing all of it, really.
Yeah, well, it was disappointing, wasn't it? Will we be at the Spuds from minute one? Says Chippers. Flying to Ian. The season we're having is amazing. Best we've had in ages. They really should stop saying how out. Absolute madness. 100%. It's just how out is absolutely absurd. What he's done to this football club, not just this season, last season as well, when he came in November, just turned it around. I mean, look, once we start winning, they'll go hiding. Once we start losing a little bit, once we lose one game, they'll come out. The shadows. It's just getting ridiculous, isn't it, Billy? Just getting ridiculous.
1 sec, mate. 1 sec.
Yep. Where's Paul and Alex? Alex has got suffering with a little migraine, so he's having a night off, and Paul's done his neck in. So I'm just covering him for Paul. Best wishes to both of them. Let's not panic. Next game is Spurs, who won't be looking forward to it. On we go, says Nick. Good evening, everyone. The midfield was a mess yesterday. Willock needs to play left side, and Longstaff left out baffled me. He's the engine. Yeah, we definitely missed Longstaff yesterday, 100%. Wonder how Theatrix next week from England's number one. Look, I'm going to talk about Villa now because Villa, when I said about that 20-second chance where they were in for 20 seconds, that really set the tone from there. And their crowd, I didn't really hear the crowd because I didn't have the sound on, but they probably were the 12th man for Spurs. Not Spurs again. They probably weren't the 12th. They're probably the 12th man for Aston Villa yesterday, weren't they, Billy?
Yeah, without a doubt, they got on, as soon as they got on the front foot, the whole end were in full voice. I've been in that whole end. They do make a lot of noise, and they were given good excuse to from the first, like you say, first 28 seconds when they hit the post. Yeah, and although our fans weren't silent, we could hear our fans all the way through too. You know, it's a big old stadium, and they stick us in the corner, and it's hard for us to get the atmosphere going for our team. But yeah, it was everything. Everything was just not right, was it?
No. Wilson should have started. He scored 2 and assisted in the home leg against Villa. I feel like the reason Wilson didn't start, Isak's in superb form, and he's definitely one of our best players this season, even being injured. Do you think? I think it was a little tiny bit unfair to drop Wilson, but there's obviously reasons why. He didn't want to mess up the 4-3-3 formation. He wanted to go 4-3-3, and Wilson and Isak don't fit in the 4-3-3. I mean, you could say Isak can go on the left wing. You got to think about Eddie Howe as well. What in his mind, what would work for him? And I don't think Isak and Wilson in a 4-3-3 is suitable. Hopefully, we've got all our drafts out of our system in the one game. That might be better than spreading it out over a number of matches, onwards and upwards. Best player on the pitch was Nick Pope. He deserves a 10. Murphy 7. The rest 5. Do you think Pope was our best player, Billy? I think he had a good game. Although he let 3 goals in, but he saved some crucial shots, which could have made it 6.
I think he was our only player. Not at best. I think he was our only player. I mean, you could probably blame him for the third. It's straight at him and it went into through his legs somehow. But apart from him being in goal, I think it would have been, like you say, a much higher scoreline. So yeah, I think he would. I think he would be our only player, letting our best. I think the rest was absolutely shocking, to be honest.
Hold on, I need to go back to that super chat because I do apologise for that. 12th man Toon. Jack, you've been a fantastic addition to the channel. Keep it up, mate. The only worthy successor to Danielle, and I wish you all, mate. Cheers, 12th man Toon. Cheers for the $4.99 donation. I need to go down to donations because they don't pop up on the screen when I see them popping up.
Got it? Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, there you go. Without Howe, we'd be battling for a top spot in the Championship now, not the Premier League. Cheers, Sam and Sai Dove for, what is that?
Danish kroner.
I don't know. That's it.
Danish kroner, yeah. But actually, you're wrong there, Samson Knight, because I mean, if Eddie Howe wasn't there, we'd still have Steve Bruce. We'd be probably relegated from the Championship to the League One by now.
Probably, because I don't think Mike Ashley was. I don't think Mike Ashley was sacking him anytime soon. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
Not a chance. Emery just tactically outsmarted Howe beforehand. Howe mentioned Villa tactically, saying they were interesting. This, to me, says Howe may not have figured out a plan to combat them. I mean, when we went 1 goal down after half-time, he obviously gave the players one more chance to prove themselves. And if he didn't see any chance, didn't see any change, he'd bring some players on. Do you think there was a slight panic in Eddie Howe yesterday, Billy? A little bit panic of, oh, God, what am I going to do here?
Yeah, I thought he made the wrong choice at the wrong time. I thought he should have had Longstaff on before any of the subs. He should have tried to establish a base to which to play from and try and solidify the back four up by having Longstaff and Bruno in front of him to help out. He didn't do it. He put, who would come on first? Was it Alman one? Can't remember who come on first.
Alman Wilson double.
Yeah, he panicked in an attacking sense, and I think he should just try to set a base first, and he didn't.
Carlton Connor says, "How's staying? Give your heads a wobble." I don't know what you're on there, Carlton. I think I've been drinking before this live.
I think he's on our side, mate.
Is he? How's staying? Give your heads. Oh, of course he is. See, you can read that comment two ways, can't you?
Yeah.
From both sides. Byrne definitely needs a rest. I do agree, Julie J. Byrne, I feel like he's done it left back. He wasn't the worst player yesterday. He was definitely in contention to be one of the worst players. I've got one worst player in mind, but he's done it left back. He's just too. I think Target. He hasn't had that many minutes since being injured. Dan Byrne, look, he's been good. It's been good while it lasted, but we really need Target to step up in left back now, and we need an absolute proper left back to really take over now.
I mean, in Dan Byrne's defence, the man he had in front of him was absolutely non-existent in helping defend. I saw one episode early in the second half where Dan Byrne was faced with two young and I think it was McGinn down that left-hand side. And I thought, well, he's got two there. Who's helping him? And I saw at the bottom of the corner of the screen, just wandering back, dead slowly, walking back, Anthony Gordon. Shocking attitude. Yeah.
We've got a $5 super chat from Seattle Geordie. Paul has done his neck in. He has got to stop hanging out with giraffe buddies. Ought to stick with the camels and bats. Best wishes to Paul. Hope he gets better soon. I'm in the chat. But what can we improve for Spurs, Billy? What do you think we can improve in that squad? Or do you think he should change it? What can we improve from that performance yesterday?
Well, he needs to go back to what we had before with the alternation between Willock and Joe Linton on that left-hand side. Longstaff back in for starters. If you're going to play Gordon, play him on the right. But after yesterday's performance, I'll be tempted to bench him again. You can go with Alman or Murphy. We've got to get a high press on Luis, high press on their back three. And I think we can beat Spurs. We've got to get the intensity back. And I know that result can go one of two ways. We can either sit down and, and cry it off and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can think, well, that ain't happening again. And really get a bit between your teeth and go at Spurs. But you've got to have the balanced team first.
I mean, the amount of space some Villa players had yesterday was absurd. I mean, is it Alex Moreno, their left back? What a player he is. He caused us so many problems. Most of their goals pretty much came from crosses into the box. We allowed Alex Moreno too much space on the left-hand side. He just dominated Kieran Trippier, got crosses into the box, and they had too many shots on goal. He was sensational, wasn't he, Billy? I thought he was him and Ollie Watkins.
Both fullbacks doubled up on, and they didn't get much support from the players in front of them. I mean, Maxi gets criticised for that, but both of them yesterday did it. Murphy and Gordon. Yeah, I mean, Trippier weren't great yesterday defensively, nor was Byrne, but again, they weren't helped out by the people in front of them.
Should I say Clive? But Jack Wilson played. Jack Wilson played well alongside Isak when he came on last week, and it proved him and Isak gelled well. That was in a different formation. I think it could have been a 4-4-2, but I strongly believed it was a 4-2-3-1 with Isak just behind Wilson. I think that's why it worked out so well. I don't think he played a 4-3-3 in the second half against Brentford. There was no chance with that. I think it's a different formation. That's why it worked. I just don't. Do you think it will work in a 4-3? I don't think Isak and Wilson fit in a 4-3-3. I really don't.
Well, you might as well play Isak wide left to what Gordon gave us. I think he'd give us a lot more than Gordon did.
I mean, Gordon. He got the ball, and as soon as he turned around, Ashley Young was there in his face, and he couldn't do a single thing. And when he did try and do a single thing, he ran at the defenders and he tried to pass the ball and he just couldn't. I feel like he's much better suited on the right-hand side. I mean, what I saw against Brentford and what I saw against Aston Villa were night and day. I feel like he was a lot better against Brentford. He got a lot more crosses into the box, gave it to Wilson a lot more. I feel like he was a lot better on the right-hand side.
It's predictable, isn't he, when he plays on the left? You just know he's going to cut inside every time, and he doesn't even cut inside and go for the box. He comes across the line and doesn't try and go forward at the same time. He's just not right for that position at all. And I think someone earlier said, what do we sign him for? Well, he's got to play on the right-hand side, simple as that, but I don't know what Eddie signed him for. If he's not going to play him on the right, I don't know what he signed him for.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that a tactical change now, as I think Villa done their homework and got tactics right to stop our high press and high line? Well, sometimes teams can just absolutely they can just tactically outsmart managers, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. Unai Emery was up for it. He got his tactics right, and he outsmarted Eddie Howe in a way, and that happens from time to time. And that you can't, unless you're Arsenal in 03 or 04, you can't go unbeaten in the Premier League nowadays. You are going to have an off day. Managers are going to figure you out, and that's just how you cope with it. And that's how Eddie Howe then needs to not panic and figure out what I can do, create some balance in the squad, and fight back at this Villa side.
I mean, it's not a case of doing the homework. It's obvious to all and sundry how we play the game. We want to tell you every week, play at high intensity. You've got to try and stop that. But we did it ourselves by having Longstaff on the bench.
Yeah, 100%. We need to accept that fourth at this stage of the season is absolutely tremendous. It is, isn't it, Billy? Like before the season started, I think I predicted 7th or 8th. Never in a million years would I have predicted 4th, because I feel like I would have been a bit too biased there. But 4th is an absolute worldie of a place. It's still Champions League, so we can't be moaning, can we?
I predicted 6th with the potential of going higher, but never, like you say, in any imagination possible would you expect 4th or 3rd. I still think 3rd's on the table. I really do. I don't think Manchester United are going to maintain this run with the players they've had injured. Again, today, they played against a really, really poor Forest side and took advantage of a really poor Forest side. But Forest could have scored a couple against them. I still think 3rd's on the table. But now we've played the teams behind us, Brighton, dare I say Aston Villa.
It's a very interesting Europe this season, isn't it? I mean, we got Aston Villa, you got Brighton, you got Newcastle. Bloody hell, this Europe and the relegation this season is awesome. I love this season so
and Liverpool,
much.
Of course, that would give Liverpool a bit of a bit of determination to try and get in that top 4. So more players back in, which is the important thing. The worst thing of it.
Tanguy says Trippier had his worst game for Newcastle yesterday. I totally agree. I feel like Trippier was absolutely awful yesterday. I mean, from the first minute to the last, he was awful. Defending was awful. He didn't look Trippier. I mean, I know what Trippier looks like, and that was not Trippier. I mean, I think he was heading the ball 1 foot above ground. I mean, he just didn't have it up there yesterday. He just didn't have it up there. And Alex Moreno had him on toast.
Yeah, before the first minute was even done, he'd given the ball away twice. Part of the reason of that tactic came from Watkins hit the post was down to Trippier giving the ball away. So yeah, he wasn't great yesterday at all.
It was not great at all. I wonder what we're going to give him for the player ratings. That's for sure. I'm very intrigued onto what's going to happen there. We lose a game. They go at Eddie utter clueless. Sorry. Yeah, but that's just the plastic fans of Newcastle, isn't it, Billy? It's just the plastic fans showing again.
Well, generally, when you get a takeover and all this money's coming in, and you expect it to be like winning stuff pretty soon within the next 5 years, you get bandwagon people, glory hunters, have jumped on the bandwagon, hoping to support a team that's going to win things. And when you lose a game, it's not what they signed up for. So that's when they start moaning about management and poor this, poor that. They haven't signed up for that. They've signed up to the top of the table.
100%. That's just exactly like Man City. Most people nowadays supporting Man City. Oh, who did you support last week? Man United. Who are you supporting this week? City. Oh, what a surprise. Because they're in a title race? Exactly. Right, and I understand now. Trippier did not play well at all. Even he's entitled to a bad game. Of course, he's entitled to a bad game. But if you played well last week and played bad this week, you got to call it out for that game. And he was not good this game, so we've got to call him out for it. But he will definitely improve, and I'm confident he'll be a lot better next week. Do you think not just Trippier, everyone needs to dust themselves down, be ready for Spurs, because that is a big, big, big game, especially with the result yesterday. That is a massive, massive game, and that just makes it a little bit more intense on in the Europe race.
You can't single out one player for a poor performance from all of them. But I have said before about Trippier and his lack of pace. It is becoming more evident now. And he does get caught out of that back post quite a few times. He has cost us a few goals by it. Generally, he kind of compensates for that with the way he drives us forward. But yesterday was one of those days where he couldn't do that. So, yeah, you can't say Trippier's done, but he's definitely getting slower. Let's just say that.
We've got a £5 super chat from Peter. Bad day at the office. Move on to Spurs. Fans behind us. Back to winning ways. Definitely, Peter. Just dust ourselves down. Bad day at the office, and we go again. We go again because it's not over until the 28th of May, and that's when we can actually say, Abs, can we not have that comment?
Go back to the last comment in a minute, Jack.
Last comment.
Yeah, one before it.
Was it that one?
Right, Longstaff had played 3 games in 6 days, and his game was all about running every blade of the grass on the pitch. So last week he didn't look good. He took come off, obviously knackered. He's had a week's rest since then. I know he's been ill with tonsillitis, but if he's fit enough to sit on the bench, he's fit enough to start. That's what we're saying. Longstaff should have played.
100%. Mike says it's still early in his Toon career, but I hope Gordon has some fight in him. Did not see it in the Villa game, and yesterday made his antic versus how more frustrating and will linger in my mind longer. Lyrico says yesterday's game was bad, but Aston Villa deserved the win. They played much better, although I wished of course we wished Newcastle won. Of course we did. We predicted Newcastle to win, but fair play to Villa. They turned up. They played better. I mean, it's totally our fault because if we played bad, we deserve to lose. But if we play good, we deserve to win. So fair play to Villa. They play us out the park, and we can't say anything else other than respect because they were better. 4-5-1 in hindsight would have stopped the exposure. Do you agree with that, Billy? 4-5-1.
It can be a negative system, can't it? You know, you kind of drop deeper and deeper with your 5 in front of your back 4, but it might have done, but I don't think so. I really don't think so.
If I remember, Eddie Howe said in his post-match interview when he changed things tactically, he left him more open, and that's probably where the goals came from. Because our defense just looked so open. It was absolutely ridiculous. It looked so open. Jolinton should have been doing what Longstaff does, says Stu.
But it's on the wrong side of the pitch for him, Stu. It's Tony. It's he's used to playing on the left hand side of midfield or on the left flank. I know he played on the right hand side for the second half against Brentford, but to be able to do it against the top quality midfield that Aston Villa have got, it's asking too much. Hasn't got the energy of Sean Longstaff by any shape or imagination. He's more about power than energy. It's a recipe for disaster. And Longstaff should have played. Simple as that.
And although our defence was absolutely awful yesterday, Ollie Watkins just tore him apart. What are your thoughts on Ollie Watkins yesterday, Billy? Because he was sensational.
Yeah, all man's up. I didn't see that performance in him, and he was absolutely from the first seconds of the game to the last when he went off. Deservedly took off at the end to get his standing ovation from the crowd himself. Walking off the pitch alone. Yeah, he was phenomenal. I can see the hype in him now. Definitely England quality, squad wise anyway.
I think I was saying about Ollie Watkins in the preview, but I don't think anyone. I think a few on my own video, people saying, "Oh, Ollie Watkins is crap. Ollie Watkins is crap." He's not. He's a real deal. I know he's been crap earlier this season, but he's really turned it around and gotten some really like a rich vein. It's kind of like an arm run, isn't it? Awful, rich vein of form, and he's on there, and he's been really, really good. What happened to Ashby anyway? Not seen anything of him since he signed. I don't think he was match fit. And I think he got a hamstring injury. Am I correct, Billy?
I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know.
I think all I heard was he's not match fit yet, but I think he'll be back. He'll be on soon. But that's crazy. We signed 2 players in the January transfer window, and only one's playing.
Well, Ashby's for the future anyway. He's not for now anyway. He's for the future, so I wouldn't expect too much of him this season, if anything.
Dan Burn has been bad for 2 games. I don't think it's 2 games. I don't think he's been bad for 2 games. He's been bad for quite a few games. But I want to see, because the real last time we've pretty much seen Target proper was last season, really. I don't think we've proper seen Target this season. And I want to give Target another go because he's pretty much had the whole season out. And I really want him to establish himself because we bought him for a reason, one reason only, because we believe he's good enough for our left-back position. And I think no doubt we'll be going for a left back this summer, regarding where we are in the league or where we finish in the league. So I think now pretty much time to proper give Target a go and see what he can do. I have a Newcastle tattoo older than young Jack because I said Eddie was found wanting. Doesn't mean I want him gone. I'm not a plastic fan.
He was found wanting yesterday. To be fair to Johnny, you're right what you're saying. He was found wanting yesterday. No doubt about it.
After the first 15 minutes, the threat from their left was obvious. They just needed to stifle that for a while to get back in the game, but there was no reaction. When Newcastle tried to get back into the game, Villa just closed us down. I mean, when we tried to attack, the Villa players were everywhere. I passed it to Bruno, 3 players there. But there's one thing I really, really want to say about yesterday's game. The diving from the Villa players was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, did you see that one, Billy, where I think it was Buendia and Bruno just clipped the back of his heels and he looked like he was diving into a pool? Shambolic, wasn't it? Shambolic.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on. The referee brought most of it, let's be honest. I didn't think Bruno was that bad, to be honest. I thought he was trying to scheme all the way through the game, to play some lovely passes. After they scored the first, we did come into it for a while. We did create chances. We created an opening for Isaac that shot out from the edge of the area. Was a nice bit of football to get there. Murphy played quite well in that little scheme of play. But we just didn't really lot of scoring. I mean, Martinez didn't have a lot to do, really, did he?
I mean, when Wilson first came on, I mean, that's another sign of the link up again. Isak chipped the ball over the top of the back line and Wilson got a flick on. And I know it was offside, but that is a good link up between the two players.
Yeah.
We did get back into the game for a while. Miggy was an all right influence on the game. He had a few opportunities, a few run at defenders, a link up with Trippier. But then when that second goal went in, nothing. Yeah,
it was a good game.
And it was all Villa for the rest of the half. If I'm being honest, I thought that second half was going to be like the Brentford half. I thought we'd turn it around. I thought we'd come out second half, be really, really up for it. But I think I'm not going to say we weren't up for it because we definitely were. We were a little bit better early in the second half, and we definitely tried to do something. But Villa were just too good on the day. They were just too good about dealing with us.
They weren't going to allow us, mate. Simple as that. They had the bit between their teeth. There was no way on God's earth we were taking points away from Villa Park yesterday. They were just wouldn't. You saw the performance of Tyrone Mings. We criticised him, and generally he's a poor player. But yesterday he was a master at that back. He blocked everything. He's had a really good game, I thought.
We were just bad. It was just a bad day. Eddie will put it apart and fix it. We're just in our infancy. We're two year ahead of schedule. No doubt we're ahead of schedule. There's no doubt about it. Sky Sports, TalkSport 5 Live All said pre-game Watkins was the danger man. He was the danger man, and you could see from the stats. I mean, if the likes of Leon Bailey was there, Jesus Christ, I would not be able to know what would have happened there, because adding more pace to that attack, Jesus Christ, I would have been worried. I would have been very, very worried. But it wouldn't have been worse than the Man United one against Liverpool, that's for sure. Burnley's not bad. He's just slow. Yes, he's slow. 6'7". You're gonna be slow, and he's done well left back.
I think he's played every game of the season as well. When they rested Botman against Liverpool, he steps in at centre back. He's played every single game. If anyone needs a rest, it's Dan Burn. Give him a rest.
I mean, we've got a left back there. Use him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's been fit for a while. Use him. Spurs got beat by Bournemouth. That's a very I mean, Spurs. Look, VAR has saved them many times this season. Their away record is awful, and we can really capitalise on that on Sunday. Dan Burn is now a 55% player. They beat us at our own game, to be fair. Do you agree with that, Billy? Beat us at our own game?
Yeah. I do indeed. Yeah, 100%.
The two forward lines that they gave us to run around this season are Watkins, Villa, and Nunez. Gakpo, Liverpool, fast, busy forwards. The supply line needs to be snuffed out of midfield. But the thing with the Liverpool and Villa dominating us from the defence to attack. Liverpool just got Trent to put long balls over the top and just got placed on it. That's all they did. But Villa, fair play to them, they actually play football, not long ball. Dan says here, Longstaff is the one who always shuts down the left flank. Without him, there is too much space. We definitely miss Longstaff. I don't know how much I have to say this. We definitely miss Longstaff. His determination, his tank. The 12 kilometers ran in 90 minutes. He really missed him yesterday. The ref was awful, but we are used to that. Yeah, what were your thoughts on the ref yesterday, Billy? I don't think he was great. I think we knew he was going to be awful from his recent games. Wasn't he banned for a bit? But what were your thoughts on his display yesterday?
I just thought he allowed John McGinn to referee the game himself, if I'm perfectly honest. John McGinn was outstanding, but he managed to get control of the game official-wise as well. And talking about referees, anyone see that handball today for Harry Maguire that weren't penalised? First one I've seen all season where the arm's out, hits the arm, didn't give a penalty.
I mean, Gorbridge was saying from a Forest point of view, which he is, he's a Forest fan, but from a Forest point of view, that's a handball. His hand was there, came off his arm, penalty. And that's not just because I'm a Newcastle fan. Bruno was rubbish. Villa were better. We missed Longstaff. I don't think Bruno was rubbish. I think him and Pope were one of the best players. I think Bruno was one of the best players in our midfield yesterday. I don't think Bruno wasn't rubbish. Not a chance.
He wasn't. He wasn't. Listen, he's not up to 8, 9 out of 10 performances we see most weeks. But he was still trying. He played some fantastic passes that second half. He wasn't rubbish. However, he wasn't his usual 8. I will agree, he wasn't his 8 or 9 out of 10. None of them were there, let's be honest.
Emery's an elite manager. Of course he is. I mean, his former team, Villarreal, he got them to a Champions League semi-final. So we knew the type of manager we were coming up against. Where's Paul? He's done his neck in. So best wishes to Paul.
And Alex has got a migraine. That's why he's not here.
We missed Joelinton. Joelinton was playing, Tony. Joelinton was playing. So, and he definitely did not have a good game, that's for sure. When was the last time we won 3 away Premier League games? We need to chill. I don't think we need to chill. Of course, 3 away games and 3 wins. Well, 3 games, 3 wins. I don't think we need to chill because it was, I think if we lost 2-1 but put up a really good fight in the second half, fair enough. We tried and we got back into the game and we gave him a good game. But, I mean, losing 3-0, I don't think there's any excuse. And we don't get me wrong, we tried to score, but Aston Villa were absolutely sensational and they deserved the win 100%.
3-0 flattered us, let's be honest. It could have been any score.
Got another one saying Bruno was trash. I don't know. He just wasn't trash. He wasn't trash. Bruno wasn't up to his usual standards. Pope made mistakes. I mean, none of the players were up to.
I agree with that. Yeah,
none of the players were up to their usual standards, but that doesn't mean they didn't have a good game. I mean, you can have a good game without scoring as well. It's just how you did your job, and Bruno did it good enough. I'm not saying he was sensational. He was the best player on that pitch because he definitely wasn't. But he wasn't the worst player, and he wasn't the best player. You're being far too negative. Yeah, I don't. Bruno wasn't trash. No way. Everything we do is through Bruno. They shut him down. I mean, yeah. When Bruno got the ball, 3 Villa players around him trying to get the ball off him. Mm-hmm. He was feeling a bit bad for Bruno, if I'm being honest, because everyone knows how good of a player he is, and they just gather up around him and try and take the ball off him. And you won't want the likes of John McGinn going at you because he's a very good player, John McGinn.
Well, we didn't get anyone near him to help him. We didn't get anyone near him to support him. This is my point about Longstaff. You get someone to support him close to him, they kind of stand up a little bit more, and they didn't. Obviously, because he was on his own. But even so, even though he did that, he did get past this press a few times and played some fantastic passes. But he wasn't his usual self by any standards. No, of course he's not. But not trash. Definitely
not. Would you guys start Gordon next match? Put Big Joe on left wing or change formation? That's going to be a tricky one because I don't think Murphy had the best game again last week. He didn't have a good game against Brentford, and he didn't really have a good game against Villa yesterday. So I think would you give Gordon another chance, but on the right wing this time, Billy? Would you give him one more chance, or would you just drop him?
No, I'd revert to type. I'd revert to how we were in the season. I'd bring Miggy back in, even though I've said we need someone right foot on the right flank. But I'd bring Miggy back in on the right and Joe Lynn on the left, and go back to the formation that served us so well for a lot of the early part of the season. We're missing Maxi, absolutely no doubt about that, and he's not going to be fit for next Saturday probably. But aside from that, the Joe Linton combination on that left flank's worked really well for us.
Bruno also can have an off game. Also, his ankle injury he's carrying. I mean, yeah, he's having a little bit of a knock in his ankle, but if you're fit enough to play, you're fit enough to play. Simple as. and the manager's giving you an option. You're fit enough to play, so go out and play. And if you're fit enough to play, you can play. Simple as. There was no best player, but if from a Newcastle point of view, you have to give a man of the match to one player, and Pope or Bruno was one of the best players. I don't think there was anyone else really. We were absolute dog shite and made Villa look good. However, and I don't think we made Villa look good.
I think it's unfair.
Villa were just set up right, and they were outstanding.
Yeah, that's unfair on Aston Villa.
Yeah, they're a good side, hence by the table, because they're sixth, I believe. So they're not sixth for no reason. They're not sixth for no reason. If we made them look good, they'll be bottom half like Chelsea. They're not no mug. Aston Villa, they're not no mug. And a lot of YouTubers are making videos saying, look, we need to look at Aston Villa because they're a real big club on the rise, and they're really, really turning it around this season. And I totally agree. That's really disrespectful on Aston Villa's part. You're being far too negative. We have lost 4 games in 30. He's replying to Tony there. Bruno and Isak in particular looked incredible, frustrated. Nothing worked on the day. When we're going forward and we're trying to make things happen, nothing worked out. It was kind of resulting to what we did against Brentford. We're looking for lucky balls through the line of the defence, and they just blocked it out. I mean, looking for lucky balls into Isak, lucky balls into Gordon never works, and we didn't really have a plan B, in my opinion. I don't think we really had a plan B.
I agree totally. I mean, we should have got Ashley Young. You know, someone to take him on the outside as well as in. Gordon can't do that. Isak was isolated most of the time, but in the first half, Murphy did get some nice crosses in. I didn't think Murphy was as bad as people are making out, to be honest. Certainly not from an attacking point of view. Got some beautiful crosses in that first half. Defensively, was pretty poor. You know, the time we tried to take on 3 plays in our own penalty area and lost the ball. Had me throwing stuff at the TV, but you know, we did create some kind of damage in their back forward. You know, with Murphy down the right side, especially nothing down the left, but all down the right. And Miggy on the second half, he should have scored probably. You know, instead of taking a touch, he took a touch and let Mings get in front of him. So there were little dots of shots that we should have got in.
Where's that? There it is. I think. Okay. I think we can all agree that refs are against us. We can't blame the refs every week, can we? We can't blame them every week because really, it's a team that needs to go out and do the job, and I don't think we can blame the refs every single week because we need to go out there and perform, and we didn't yesterday. Nothing stuck up front. Isak was 3 or a 4 for me. I mean, Isak, one of our best players this season, and he had like 1 shot yesterday. And if I'm being that, I don't think that was it. But he was trying to make things happen, but nothing fell for him. And it was a frustrating game for Isak. If I was Isak, I'd say that was a frustrating game because nothing worked out for me. Watkins in behind and their box midfield, we just couldn't handle. I mean, when Villa were breaking forward, we couldn't. We just couldn't deal with them. I mean, they were using Alex Moreno on the left. They were using Ashley Young a little bit on the right, and they just whipped the balls in. Ollie Watkins there to finish it off. That's all they did all game, and it worked for him. We've got to be fair play. Got $4.99 super chat from 12th man Toon. People who get in the shower feet first make me feel sick.
I don't understand that, but
I think I'll take that into consideration. I think I'll get into the shower head first then. But thank you for your super chat, 12th man Toon, and don't forget, guys, you can subscribe. We are on the road to 19,000 now. We are about 400 away now. So if you guys can hit that subscribe button, it really does help the channel as well as boost the channel in viewership as well, and help YouTube get us on the recommended page a little bit more so people can find us on the recommended page instead of typing the Toon review on YouTube. And also like would be appreciated as well, everyone. That'd be greatly appreciated. And if you want to go follow the socials, link in the description below. And if you're on Android or iOS, you can go onto the Instagram and the link should be there. Thank you for that. And if you want to super chat like 12 man Toon just did there, the $sign in the live chat, you can click that and that'll be greatly appreciated. And it's also a guaranteed comment read out, so that'll be greatly appreciated. We need Maxi, but we need Maxi who wasn't playing 4 games before being out weeks injured. But that's going to happen with Maxi. I know he's got hamstring like a Lutet's glove, but we do miss him, and he's people are saying we need to sell him in the summer. That's just the games like yesterday prove we don't need to sell him in the summer because he's a vital player, whether he's injured or not. Because he's a good player to bring off the bench, and he's a good player to start as well, isn't he, Billy?
Even if he'd been as ineffective as Gordon, and I don't think I've ever seen Maxi as ineffective as Gordon was yesterday, by the way. But even if he was, they have to make kind of arrangements for him, and that means that people aren't going forward like they were yesterday. So yeah, without a doubt, what he's saying is bang on the money.
Just before we do player ratings, I'm going to get her up now. So get your emojis rolling. It's Daisy. You just feel so privileged, don't you? You just feel so privileged to click that button. Got loads of emojis of cows. Look, I know you guys are waiting for that, and the time has finally arrived for Daisy to come out of the what do you call it? What do you call it when the cow sleeps in? What do you call it?
I don't know. Hibernating? They don't hibernate cows, do they?
Fantastic result for the Lassers today. Yes, they won 6-1 against Bradford, so well done to the Lassers. Congratulations on your win, and hopefully they get promoted. Isn't it first place that only gets promoted in their league? That's ridiculous, that, isn't it?
I think so.
Surely it's like first and second who just get promoted. That's ridiculous.
Same last year,
we are going to go through. We are going to go through player ratings now, so you guys can put your player ratings in the live chat. We're going to start with Pope. Billy, what would you give for Pope yesterday?
Well, listen, if it hadn't been for Pope, it could have been any score. He did make 2 or 3 fantastic saves. I did find him at fault for the third goal, though. I'm going to give him a 6. Middle of the road.
6. Yeah, that's a safe option, isn't it? That's a safe option. And that's also what I'm going to go with as well. I don't think he was... I feel like no player really gets really above 6, really. Because and that's not meaning they're an awful game. That's just... You can't give players 8s or 9s for a 3-0 loss, can you? So I'd give him a 6. He saved some vital shots. Without Pope, I mean, I know we conceded 3. But without Pope, probably conceded 7. So he was a vital player for us, even though we lost 3-0. Trippier, Billy, Trippier. What would you give Trippier?
Well, for the minute it started, just wasn't at the races, was he? I can't think anything positive to say about him. He was trying to get forward, but he was constantly being beaten by the fullback. And whenever Buendia went out there, too, Jacob Ramsey went past him a few times. Yeah, it's a 3 out of 10 for me yesterday.
He was shocking. I'm giving him a 2. I'm giving him a 2, honestly. He was absolutely awful. I had no words for Trippier yesterday. That just wasn't Trippier. That wasn't the La Liga winner. That wasn't the Champions League finalist. That was utter crap from Trippier yesterday. I hate to say it because I love Trippier. I love him. One of the best players. One of my faivourite players.
I have said a few times about him getting caught at that back post and not being alert to things around him. And it happened again yesterday. I don't know. Maybe it's a little blind spot.
We're going to move over to the left-hand side, Dan Burn.
Like Trippier, he was left on his own most of the time. But that's no excuse for the way he played. You know, giving the ball away constantly. I don't know what the stats were. Seemed to be dominated by whoever was against him, whether it be Ashley Young, whether it was John McGinn, whether it was Buendia, or whoever was on that side. But he was no worse than Trippier and certainly no better. So 3 for me again.
If I've given Trippier 2, I think Dan Burn was a tiny bit better than Trippier, so I'll give him a 3. I feel like his time at left back is unfortunately over. I think we need to give Target a run next week, especially with the likes of the players that Spurs have got, very fast players. I mean, Kane can get in, Son could switch sides and get Dan Burn as well. That's going to be a real tough time for Dan Burn. So I'd give Matt Target a go next week, and I'm going to give Dan Burn a 3. Right, Sven Botman. I'm going to let you drink there, Billy. Dan Burn. No, not Dan Burn. Sven Botman.
That was his worst game in the Newcastle United shirt. Yeah, I'm afraid Mr. Watkins took him to the cleaners, out-strengthened him, outpaced him, come off the pitch with 2 goals against him. Weren't great at all. I'm going to give him a 4.
4. Just before I do mine, got another £4.99 super chat from 12 Man Toon. Thank you for your contribution today. You donated like 3 times today, so thank you for that so much. Daisy said it's time to stop milking her. The rest of the season is high stakes. I also heard that Howe told Pope that's nothing gonna get past you. Right, Sven Botman. I'll give him a. I do agree with Billy. One of his worst games in a Newcastle shirt, so I give him a 5. Botman 4, a lot of 4s, a lot of 5s. Yeah, just mainly below 5s and 4s and 3s, and yeah, it was not good. Dan Burn has been useless for months now. He's been skinned every game, too slow, terrible at passing, poor at heading, and has the mobility of Harry Maguire. Oof, bloody hell. I think he's decent in the air, although I think he needs to be good in the air. He's 6'7". Of course, he has to be good in the air. I mean, if you're 6'7" and struggle to head a ball against a small attacker, you've got a few problems there.
That was that ridiculous referee of the game where he penalised Dan Burn for pushing John McGinn in a heading duel. Why would he need to do that?
I think the refs nowadays want the players to stand next to each other and just jump with each other. No, the whole point of it is to drag the player down so you can get above them and battle for the ball. Like, that ball's your life, battle for it. And that's exactly what Dan Burn was doing.
Yeah, I don't think he even touched. On this occasion, he just fell over McGinn, appealed for the free kick and got one. You know, he's about, I don't know how tall he is, 5'9", 5'10". Dan Burn's a foot taller than him and had to push him to get to win a ball in the air. Absolute bollocks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's another case of the Aston Villa players diving, wasn't it, Billy? That was another case of that, wasn't it? Fabian Schär, Billy. Fabian Schär.
Again, not great. Looked slow. Yellow carded and I thought in fair he was a yellow card. I didn't think it was a yellow card. There was worse tackles that went and punished. I'll give him a 4 too.
A 2.
No, 4. I'll give him a 4 too.
4.
That's the same as whoever else got a 4. Can't remember.
I'll give, if I've given Botman a 5, I'll give Schär a 5 because I don't think he was worse than Botman, so I have to give them both a 5. I never thought I would say this, but we really missed Longstaff in that game. We don't really have to think you'd say, because I think everyone can agree with me and Billy in here. I think we really did miss Longstaff yesterday. I think we really, really did. I'd give Burn a run at centre half, his position. Would you give Dan Burn a run at centre half, Billy? Do you think, because we haven't got too much cover in centre backs, do we?
I think he just needs a rest. Just let him sit down for a week. And if you bring him back at centre half to let Botman all have a rest, so be it. But Dan Burn needs a rest, without a doubt.
Yeah, he's played a lot of games. He's played a lot of minutes as well. And he's done well in most of the games this season, in a lot of the games this season. So you've got to give him credit for that. And being good in the games, that means you have to work hard. And that means you have to use your tank a lot of the games. So he definitely needs a rest. Definitely. I don't agree that we missed Longstaff. Abstow doesn't agree that we missed Longstaff. I think we did.
It's the energy he provides, Abs. It's, even if he's having a shit game of the ball at his feet, he's covering ground, he's getting in front of players and stopping them having empty runs into goal, which is what happened yesterday.
I hope Stu's joking here.
Of course he is.
Most of our team was missing yesterday, apart from Isak. Most of our team was missing, apart from Isak. I do not agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't. Anyway, we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to Joe Willock, Billy. Joe Willock.
Totally anonymous. Did absolutely nothing for the whole 90 minutes or however long he was on. I can't remember him coming off the pitch. Can't remember him having the ball even. 3 out of 10. Just didn't do anything.
I'll give him a 2. I think he was totally anonymous. I honestly can't remember him touching the ball. I really can't. I can't remember him having a drive at the defence. I can't remember him having a shot at the goal. I don't think we tested Martinez enough. Although he's a good goalkeeper, but I don't think we tested him enough, and I don't think Willock was there yesterday. So I'll give him a 2. We are the worst team in Premier League for scoring from set pieces. The back four are huge, but absolutely terrible at heading the ball in opposition's box. I mean, we are not good from a set piece. I mean, you think with the size of our defence, with Botman being 6'4" or 5", wherever he is, Dan Burns 6'7", Schär's tall as well. You'd think we'd be good from set pieces, and yet we aren't. I mean, the likes of I mean, Southampton's probably the worst at set pieces, I think. But you'd think we'd be really good on set pieces with the size of our players, because I think we've got one of the biggest squads in the league. Joelinton, Billy. Joelinton. Let's move on to him.
Yeah, that's his worst game in the midfield for Newcastle. We're back to, it was one of them performances where nothing went right for him. You can never fault his effort, but even that seemed to be in question yesterday. You just thought, God, this is just passing me by. I'll give Joelinton a 3 also.
I agree, 3. Definitely not one of his best games. Sloppy passing, didn't really see loads of Joelinton. His tackling wasn't there. He just wasn't up to his normal self. So I give him a 3. Newcastle played in the cup final and didn't turn up. Newcastle played Villa and didn't turn up. It's the head coach's fault because he does the tactics. But yes, you can point some fingers at the coach as well, but you got to point fingers at the players as well, because ultimately they're the players on that pitch doing the job, and they're the players on there scoring the goals and trying to win you the game. So I don't think it's all on the coach, is it really, Billy? Is it?
No, not at all. I mean, at the end of the day, he can't go on the pitch and play for them. I mean, he's put out a side yesterday that didn't have the balance it usually does. But even so, he did that. The players still got performance with a certain standard. And yesterday, every one of them was worse than their Villa counterpart. Every single one of them, and some of them by some distance too.
Seems like we've got a Southgate curse yesterday. I mean, he was at the game, but I think he supports Villa, doesn't he? He played for Villa, and I think he supports Villa, if I'm correct. Or he's just there to watch Tyrone Mings.
He certainly played for Villa.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't rate him as a player nor as a manager. So
definitely not that penalty for England, that's for sure. Bruno 5 was ganged up because his other midfield teammates were missing. Yeah, like Billy said, no one was there to help him or support him. He got the ball, 3 players around him, 3 Aston Villa players around him, no one in sight. So he had to rely on his Brazilian flair to try and get himself out of it. And literally, you can't always rely on skills, because sometimes when you got 3 Villa players around you, you're going to struggle to get past them. So he was not very helped upon. But speaking of Bruno, we're going to mark Bruno now. So Billy, your player rating for Bruno?
I agree with what you just said there. The 5 out of 10, it was middle of the road performance. Week in, week out, we're giving 8, 9s, 10s. There was a massive drop off from that. Not necessarily his fault. He still did play some lovely passes, even despite all of the things we've said. But yeah, I wanted him to stamp his authority on the game, and he wasn't allowed to. 5 out of 10 for me.
I'm going to sit on the fence as well. Go. What would you class as the middle score? 6 or 5? What would you class?
Depends where you start from, doesn't it? It depends where you start from. Start from 10, it's 6. Start from 1, it's 5.
Really, you start from 5. You start in the middle, and if they're good, they go right. If they're bad, they go left, downwards. I think I'd start Bruno on a 5. He mainly went up to 7, then went back down to a 5. So I'd have to give him a 5. Sit on the fence, go middle for Bruno. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. So I'd go in the middle for Bruno. Anthony Gordon, pretty sure I know what's coming with Billy's player ratings after what he's been saying tonight. Go ahead, Billy.
Just for getting his boots on the right feet, I'll give him 1 out of 10.
Wow, 1 out of 10. I'll give him a 2. I feel like he got the ball, turned around. Ashley Young was right in front of him, and he just didn't really do anything. I mean, he got the ball, Ashley Young there. He drove it at the defence, tried to pass the ball, nothing, and he got took off early in the second half. And I didn't see anything from Gordon. And I really, really hope if he does start next game, I really, really hope he has a better game, because I really want to see more of Gordon. I want him to prove people wrong. Because at the moment we're saying, is he a waste of money? Is he not? We need to give him some time and in his right position. I mean, if he can play left wing, right wing, maybe up front, he needs to be well on the left wing, and he was not well on the left wing. And I give him one more chance on the right hand side. If he's not good on the right hand side, give him enough minutes, then we can say, right, he's a waste of money. But right now, I'd give him one more game, a really good time at minutes, and then we'd have to see there. We really do need to use some context here. Yes, the performance as total was clusterful. Cluster F. But look how many matches we've played in such a short amount of time. Classic burnout syndrome. We bashed on.
You say that, mate. But Villa have had the same amount of games we have, so it's you're not competing on a level playing field. Villa had the same 3 games we did the previous week.
Jacob Murphy, Billy. Jacob Murphy.
No, he did play 1 or 2 really nice balls into the box. One that Isak just couldn't quite get onto, but it was a fantastic cross. And probably was our most promising attacking force in the first half. Defensively, it was absolutely diabolical. Though. I'll give him a 4.
I think that cross into Isak. I think all Isak needs to do. I think put a little weight off that pass, and Isak needs to stick a leg out and finish it. But a few good cross. That's the positive of having the right hand side, right-footed right winger, because they can put crosses into the box. I mean, you wouldn't really see that from Miggy, would you? No. So I'd give him a 4 as well. I don't think it was good. Ronald giving Gordon a 4. Dan giving him a 0.01. Gordon 1, Gordon 2, 4, -4 from Tom. 2, yeah, most people are agreeing with you. 4, would you agree with 4? I don't think I'd give him a 4. I think if I'm giving, of course it's your own opinion. You're entitled to your own opinion, but I think if I'm giving Murphy a 4, Gordon is nowhere near a 4 for me. Bruno set up a couple of chances that we should have done better with. Then it might have been a different story. Alexander Isak, Billy. Alexander Isak wasn't his best game, was it?
No, he got out-muscled most of the time. We have said about him. Well, I've said about him being not. At first, I didn't think he was physically capable of doing it. Then he proved me wrong. Yesterday, he was back to the first style again. He was Mings and Collins had him in his pocket, really. You couldn't fault his effort, though. He was still looking for the ball. One nice shot that pity was in the top corner, but straight at Martinez. I'll give Isak a 5, the same as Bruno.
I think Isak, I mean, he had one shot that Martinez tipped over the bar, and he tried to make things happen. He moved sometimes to the wing, tried to cut inside defenders, and it didn't work for him. I give him a 4. So that is the starting 11 play ratings, but we're now going to move on to the bench. Now, Eddie Howe did make 5 subs in that game, and the first double was Callum Wilson and Almiron. Callum Wilson, Billy.
I don't remember doing anything apart from when he got offside. Competed a bit more up front than what Isak did, but I don't think he actually did anything with the ball at his feet. I'll give him a 3.
3 for Callum Wilson. That early chance where he tipped it when that little chipping ball from Isak, and then Wilson just tried to stick his leg out and try to get into the bottom right. But it was offside anyway, so we can't really count that as good. And apart from that, nothing. Closing down, didn't really close down too well. And apart from that, nothing from Callum Wilson. So I'd have to give him a 3. Now the next one, Miguel Almiron.
Yeah, he caused some problems, I think. He did cause a few problems, but however, he should have just, be more confident on his left foot, especially. He took a touch when he was on his left foot already, and Mings got in front of him. But I'll give him a 4.
Give him a 4. Gordon is young. He has shite he has had shite coaching for years. Can't write him off soon. He was shite, but also with a majority of the sides. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. No, we're not. Of course, we're not writing them off because he's here. He's wearing a black and white shirt, and we have to support him all the way until he leaves the club. Whenever that is, we do not know. Of course, we don't. But
Anthony Gordon wasn't signed. Yeah, he wasn't signed for now. He's signed for the future. You'll see the benefit of him in next season after that, and so on. But you've got to find a position for him. I don't think it's left hand side.
No, we signed him for a reason, and clearly Eddie Howe sees something in Anthony Gordon that he can improve, and can see doing very well in the future. And he's had, of course, he's had shite coaching. Of course he has. And now that's Eddie Howe's turn to make him a really good player. And I do feel like he is for the future, like Billy just said. Billy, he wasn't bad. He wasn't as bad as a few others.
Yeah, but his attitude was really bad as well. I say he didn't help out Dan Burn in the slightest. Defensively, just wasn't helping out, and just didn't do anything going forward either. And to make a 37, almost 38-year-old look like Cafu in his prime, you're doing something wrong. There's no way Maxi allows that to happen for starters. No way.
Next one. I need to mark Almiron, don't I? I give Almiron a 4. I think he did cause problems. He came on, had a few little link-ups with Trippier to try and make things happen. He had that one volley, which I think he could have lofted to the back post for Callum Wilson. And who knows, if Callum Wilson would have put that away, It was 1-0 at the time. That could have changed the game. But no, in them positions, your mind is focused on one thing. That's the goal. And he went for it. And it didn't pull off. But I'll give him a 4. Who came on next? Was it Sean Longstaff? So Sean Longstaff.
I think at the time when he came on, was it 2-0 then, was it?
Yes, I believe.
The game was virtually gone. Villa were rampant. It was hard for him to get him involved in the game. Again, I'll give him a 4.
I don't think there was much from Sean Longstaff because, like Billy just said there, the game was done. And when Villa scored the second, they were bound to score the third. And there's nothing really for him to do. So I'd have to give him a... well, Tom's giving Armron a... Is that a dash to say 4 or is that a minus 4?
So. I think he's put a little hyphen into... Yeah, I think he's not giving him -4. I think it's a 4.
Yeah. But Sean Longstaff, I'll give him a 4 as well. I'll give him a 4. Armron should have scored. Any other day, that would have gone in. But I do feel like he was a little selfish there, if I'm being honest. I feel like he was a little selfish. I think Callum Wilson was in the best position ever. And he told him that. He said, Miggy, I'm right here, mate. I'm right here. I think last of all, it was Elliot Anderson's. Is there much to score Elliot Anderson on? He didn't really come on, did he? He didn't do anything. Again, I think that game against Nottingham Forest, sublime, nothing since. I don't think he's had the biggest chance in the world to prove himself again. I don't think he's had too many minutes to after the Forest game, but there's no point. We'll give him a 4 in the middle. There's nothing to mark him on. But that is it, everyone. That is your match review. A big thank you to all the people in the chat. Thank you for your contribution as always. Thank you to all the donators in the chat below. That really, really does mean a lot. And don't forget, guys, to subscribe as well as we're on the road to 19,000.
Yeah, we haven't scored target or how yet.
Have we marked target? No, we haven't marked target, have we?
Already
Target Billy.
Yeah, I didn't really see any difference when he came on, to be honest, although he didn't make any mistakes as such. I do like his passing. I do like he gets the ball down and passes it first off. We need that left back. I think he needs to start next week. But again, I can't give him any more than a 4.
I'll give him a 3. Nothing much from target. We need to give him more minutes. I feel like give him one half and we'll see what he does. If he's bad, he's bad. If he's bad, if he's good, he's good. I think he needs more minutes. If I'm being honest, I think he needs more minutes. I'll have like a story there. Eddie Howe, please, Billy.
Well, yeah, that was his worst performance as a manager since he's been at the club. I mean, that's as bad as the Spurs one last year where he played a double pivot and it didn't work. I'll give Eddie Howe a 3. And it's horrible saying that, but yeah, yes, they're totally outcoached, totally outthought. Masterclass memory, the opposite from Eddie Howe.
I know it's horrible to say that, but you got to call it out. If you're bad, you're bad. If you got it, I don't think Eddie Howe's bad. I don't think Eddie Howe's a bad manager. Do I? Heck? But he just didn't have the good game. I think he got outsmarted by Unai Emery. I don't think he had the best managerial game ever. I think that was his worst managerial game since being at the club. But now recovering from like a story there. Thank you for watching as always, everyone. I'll do that again. Thank you for watching as always, everyone. We have fully marked all the players now, so thank you for reminding me, especially to Billy as well. Thank you to all the super chats as well and the comments. That really, really does mean a lot. And get well soon to Paul and Alex as well. Hopefully they'll be back soon. And don't forget to subscribe, everyone. Like as well. And we'll see you in the next one. Big thanks to Billy as well. And how are the lads? If I can find it.